Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are here at AmFest, Phoenix, Arizona, with political icon. He's not just from Richard Nixon to Donald Trump, but everything in between. This guy knows what's going on, and he's the best-dressed man in politics. We welcome on the one, the only Roger Stone. Roger, how are you doing, my friend?
Alex, great to be back with you.
Well, Roger, you just spoke here. Was that the first day or was that the second day?
It was the second day.
And what is that like coming up to a crowd like this of favorable people? And how does that compare to when you go to a court where they all hate you? Does it make it feel that much better?
Yeah, it's very, very different, shall we say. First of all, it's amazing. It's the most important conclave of young conservatives in the country. We're making history here because this is a generational change and also a political realignment. That's the story of the most recent election. It's not just a personal testimony to the persistence and resilience and strength and character and courage of Donald Trump, but we're melding a new, broader coalition here with Robert Kennedy, with Tulsi Gabbard, with Rod Blagojevich, and common sense Democrats who've had it with the fact that their party is about war, censorship, and let's just let Big Pharma do whatever they want as long as profits are fat. So there's a completely new realignment in America in which everybody who has common sense is on one side and everybody else on the other side are just basically authoritarians. This could last us for the next 30 years if we do it right.
Okay, Roger, now, this is a tough question. I know you don't just know the answer to this, but Donald Trump says on day one he's going to pardon the January 6ers. Realistically, it's going to take longer than one day. What happens the first month?
No, actually,
it won't.
I don't think that's true. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but in all honesty, they I believe building a database of those charged. Now, the president could decide that when it comes to those convicted of violent crimes, that he'll commute their sentences, and those convicted of nonviolent crimes, perhaps, and I don't speak for him, he fully pardons them. But I think the American people have seen enough. The conditions in the D.C. jail are worse than the worst prison anywhere in Russia. This is inhuman. It's a violation of the Geneva Accords. We are treating American citizens worse than we treat terrorists. I believe him. I take him at his word. On day one, I think you're going to see a blanket clemency of some kind. It's up to him to decide how, but it's going to happen. He reaffirmed it in his interview with Maria Bartiromo. I think it is coming, and it is justice. By the way, the people who disrupted his 2017 inauguration, who were charged with violence, the charges against all of them were dropped.
Yeah.
The people who burned down half the nation in 2020, BLM, Antifa, injuring people, killing people, causing millions of dollars of damage to public and private property, none of them were charged. So it's time to have a single standard of justice. No more two-term justice in this country.
Were you surprised that the backlash after the Daniel Penny verdict wasn't a little more intense? There weren't more protests? Because I kind of was, personally.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of grousing, but there was not a huge physical backlash. The facts of that became entirely clear. Daniel Penny, who I'm proud to say is an Italian-American like myself, he's a hero. All he tried to do was to defend someone from being assaulted. And this idea that he should have been charged was absurd to begin with. It speaks yet again to the epic corruption of Fat Alvin Bragg. This guy is one of the most corrupt and incompetent prosecutors in the country. You would hope that the voters of New York would replace him, but I kind of doubt that will happen.
Last question: will that verdict affect Derek Chauvin's potential cases and seeing what happened with George Floyd and now doing an autopsy? You think it'll have any effect?
Ask
on
me again, guy.
Okay, so with the Daniel Penny verdict, you saw that he's not guilty. Now, Derek Chauvin with the George Floyd murder, they're saying that they're going to reinvestigate that, look at the autopsy. Do you think that will affect that?
I agree with Jack Posobiec on this point. It should be reinvestigated. The autopsy is not consistent with the verdict, and I think that's a problem.
Guys, Roger Stone, he's a political powerhouse. It's an honor and a privilege. Guys, give it up for Roger Stone.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself